Imagine a night so silent, where the streets of California were calm, and a shadow moved silently through them. A predator whose true identity has never been revealed to the world. A killer who didn't just commit murders but played a psychological game with both the police and the media. This story begins in December 1968 in Vallejo, California, when a young couple, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were parked on a lonely road. Suddenly, the crack of gunfire shattered the night, and their lives were changed forever. Initially, the police assumed it was a random dispute, or perhaps a robbery gone wrong. But as the investigation progressed, the clues left everyone baffled. Then, in January 1969, the world received the first cryptic letter, Zodiac Killer's first taunting note. The letter contained a cipher, a mysterious code that challenged even the world's best cryptographers. "If you can solve this, you may learn who I am," it read. This was just the beginning. Zodiac had turned his murders into a cat-and-mouse game with the media and the police. Every letter left a hint of his identity, sometimes direct, sometimes veiled. Both the public and the authorities were gripped by fear and curiosity. People could not understand who this killer was or what pattern he was following. Each attack, each letter, was a psychological trap. The Vallejo attack was more than just a crime. It was a signal that a dangerous, highly calculating mind was operating freely in the quiet towns of California. The murders of Faraday and Jensen served as a wake-up call for the police, who realized they were dealing with a clever and audacious killer. Then, in February 1969, Zodiac sent another letter to intensify both fear and fascination. This one detailed how he had targeted and killed his first victims. Every word was a psychological twist, a taunt aimed at both the police and the public. Media outlets published the letters, amplifying the suspense and curiosity. The newspapers sensationalized the story, fueling discussions everywhere. Zodiac's genius was using the public and the authorities' interest to his advantage. Every letter increased suspense and tension, drawing people deeper into the mystery. Investigators collected clues, shell casings, tire tracks, eyewitness accounts, but Zodiac's planning was meticulous. After every attack, he disappeared without a trace, leaving only letters and cryptic hints. This pattern resembled a psychological thriller, with every step amplifying suspense. Between January and February, tension in the public and media reached new heights. People could not predict his next move. His letters delivered both gruesome details and mocking taunts. "I am always one step ahead of you." Zodiac's first cipher, a 408-character cryptogram, was eventually solved, revealing only part of his message. Two more complex ciphers remain unsolved to this day, confusing generations of experts and amateur sleuths alike. These codes and letters, combined with his murders, created an intricate puzzle that the world still struggles to decode. Eyewitness and survivor trauma added another layer. Families and friends of David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen struggled to understand who could commit such crimes and why. Their accounts, combined with police reports and media coverage, amplified the suspense and psychological tension. This was only the first part of the story. Brutal attacks, unsolved ciphers, and taunting letters lay ahead. Zodiac had created a psychological thriller through his killings that the world still struggles to comprehend. On a quiet night by Lake Berryessa, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were enjoying a picnic. Suddenly, a man wearing a mask appeared before them, holding a sharp knife. His approach was calculated and brutal, as if every step was designed to heighten suspense and fear. Brian immediately sensed something was wrong and tried to react to save his life. Cecilia, tragically, did not survive. The trauma for Brian that night would haunt him forever. Eyewitnesses later told the police that the killer was calm, controlled, and eerie, his presence masked, yet terrifying. Every action appeared deliberate, a psychological message. "I am always one step ahead of you." Police collected shell casings, tire tracks, and a note left by the killer. But it did not reveal his true identity. After Lake Berryessa, Zodiac continued sending taunting letters. These letters described his killings in detail while mocking law enforcement. The media published each one, fueling public fascination and fear. People were terrified, and the mystery deepened with each letter. During this period, Zodiac sent 3 cryptograms to the San Francisco Chronicle. One, the 408-character cipher, was solved, revealing only partial clues about his identity. The remaining 2 remain unsolved decades later, challenging experts and amateurs alike. Each cipher contained psychological elements designed to taunt anyone trying to decode them. Investigators followed multiple leads, interrogated suspects, and collected forensic evidence, but Zodiac remained one step ahead. His attacks and letters were meticulously calculated, like a director orchestrating a real-life psychological thriller. Every clue seemed to vanish. Every lead ended in a dead end. The Berryessa attack raised public fear. People were scared to go out at night, and authorities increased patrols and investigation efforts. But Zodiac's unpredictability and cunning nature kept them frustrated. Eyewitness and survivor accounts were dramatized by the media, adding suspense and fascination. Zodiac cleverly exploited media and police attention, using every letter, cryptic message, and attack as part of his psychological game. By the late 1960 seconds, Zodiac's murders, letters, and ciphers had created a psychological nightmare for authorities and the public alike. People could not understand his motives or methods, and each new lead only deepened the suspense. If you think Zodiac's terror was limited to murders, you are mistaken. He created a psychological puzzle alongside his killings. In September 1969, 3 cryptograms were published in the San Francisco Chronicle. One was solved quickly, revealing partial clues to his identity. The other 2 remain unsolved to this day, baffling generations of codebreakers. Each cipher was carefully constructed, not random codes, but psychological taunts. You will only understand me when I allow it. Media outlets sensationalized every new cipher, and public fascination and fear escalated. The letters and ciphers had a profound psychological effect. They described killings, sometimes symbolically, sometimes explicitly. Every word added layers of suspense and tension. Police and media were both confused and terrified. Investigators interrogated suspects, collected forensic evidence, and examined eyewitness accounts, but Zodiac's pattern was unpredictable. Each attack and letter was deliberate, calculated, and theatrical. Clues vanished, leads ended in dead ends. Zodiac's ciphers and letters were more than just murders. They were a psychological battle with police and the public. Each taunt and coded message was meant to convey, "I am always ahead of you." Public fear and fascination grew steadily. Eyewitness accounts and survivors' statements added realism and tension. Even with detailed timelines and suspect descriptions, Zodiac's true identity remained unknown. Trauma and fear layered the narrative with suspense. The unsolved ciphers continue to challenge both experts and amateurs. Every new decoding attempt has kept the mystery alive. Zodiac's symbols, letters, and attacks formed a complex web still unsolved. Media coverage, public fascination, and police frustration combined to create a narrative that remains unsolved. This part emphasizes the core of Zodiac's psychological game and cipher puzzle. Every lead, every clue, and every suspect carried a secret. When police moved one step forward, Zodiac was always 2 steps ahead. Investigators interrogated suspects, pursued false leads, and collected evidence, but each time they failed. Every clue disappeared, and each witness's fear deepened the suspense. Zodiac's murders and letters followed a distinct pattern. Signature marks, taunting letters, and calculated attacks formed a psychological map. Police analyzed fingerprints and vehicle tracks but could not locate Zodiac. Each new piece of evidence and eyewitness testimony increased suspense and tension. The media dramatized every lead. Public fascination and fear grew. Zodiac's genius lay in using media attention to his advantage. Every letter and taunt was part of a psychological trap. Eyewitness and survivor accounts helped authorities but never revealed the full picture. Trauma and fear intensified the suspense and tension of the investigation. By the late 1970 seconds, Zodiac modified his approach, sending letters with symbols and drawings, including the infamous cross-circle motif. Whether this was a clue to his identity or merely a psychological ploy, experts remain confused. These symbols and letters became part of an unsolved web. Despite forensic evidence, suspects, and leads, the case remained unsolved. Police frustration and public fascination grew, keeping the mystery alive. Zodiac's psychological game continued for decades, making him a perpetual step ahead of law enforcement. Over 50 years have passed, yet the Zodiac mystery remains alive. This case is more than just crime. It is a real-life, psychological thriller. Researchers and amateur sleuths still attempt to decode his clues and ciphers. Every new theory and attempt keeps suspense and curiosity alive. Zodiac symbols, letters, and killings have left a profound psychological impact. Media dramatization amplified fear and fascination, while survivors' accounts added further tension. The legacy continues across generations. Each documentary, book, and video revives the unsolved mystery. For new generations, Zodiac is both a cautionary tale and a dark fascination, a real-life example of suspense and horror beyond movies. His ciphers remain unsolved. Every decoding attempt keeps the puzzle alive. Each murder, letter, and cryptogram was part of a psychological game. Zodiac's brilliance was using the interest of the public and police to his advantage. Suspense, tension, and fear built with every step, clue, and lead. Even today, in the remote corners of California, people recall the terrifying nights. For generations, Zodiac serves as a reminder that real-life suspense and horror are not confined to fiction. Every documentary and discussion keeps the mystery alive. More than 50 years later, the name Zodiac Killer still sparks fear and curiosity. This case is not just about murder. It is a psychological thriller played out in real life, remaining unsolved and mysterious. Perhaps that was Zodiac's ultimate game, to keep his identity a mystery and the world captivated in an eternal puzzle.